Every time around this year the discussion starts again. Do I put my supers above or below brood nest? And it's time that discussion is going to end, and we're going to do it today. Hello and welcome, this is our Beekeepers Live, and we're going to talk about supering up above or below. I'm going to tell you the pros of each method, and do with it what you will, and you can choose your own method that suits you best. That is in essence the clue to above or below, it doesn't matter. But here it goes. Putting the supers below the brood nests. That is one group of people, and above the brood nest is the other group of people, and there's often a debate, sometimes even a verbal fight on the social media. The pros of putting your supers below is it's more natural. The bees naturally build from above to below. They can expand their brood nest. Big plus is if you think they need space and you put it below, they don't lose any warmth. A con is they tend to not build out those frames below as fast as above, and they tend to not draw them completely out to the bottom of the frame. The pros of putting your super above your brood nest is they build it up faster. For some reason it's less natural, but they build it up faster. They quite seem to enjoy it, in my opinion. They build out the frames nicely to the bottom of the frame. That's a plus too. It's way easier if you have to do a lot of hives. If you have to do 100, 200 hives and they have to get supers on them, it's way easier if you can pull up the lid, the crown board, put it on, crown board back, lid back on, done, next hive. It's literally that fast. Below it takes a lot more work. A very big con of supering above is if you get a cold snap, it's harder for them to keep the warmth where it belongs around the brood nest. If they have enough food, they will probably manage. You can succumb it a bit to not give frames with foundation if you super above, but drawn out frames, the bees tend to get on them easier, and then they are better capable to keep their brood nest warm. Downside, in my feeling, is bees really like to draw comb in spring. They really are itchy to go, and they really build out beautiful frames. And if they want to build, let them build. So I tend to super with maybe a couple of drawn out frames, but mostly foundation, and they tend to build it out quite fast. I tend to super above. Well, I always super above because it's easier to work. But you should keep notice of the environment. If the coming week or 2 weeks are bad weather, today it's 10 degrees, so it's just 10 degrees centigrade. I'm not sure what exactly what Fahrenheit it is, but yesterday it was well above freezing, and it was a really nice day. And the day before that it was even warmer, so almost a full-on spring, almost summery day. But tomorrow the day temperature is just going to be just above freezing. If I would super with foundation today, they have a hard day tomorrow and the coming days, and the week after that there's mostly rain. So I just didn't super yet. I tend to do it in 2 weeks, and well, in all fairness, it is not even, well, I will post it on April 1st, but I'm recording this at a Wednesday, so it's the 30th of March today. It is early in the season, despite the great weather we already had. So keep that in mind. If you're super above, it is always good to keep a good notion of the environment. Big plus for me is it is easier to do a rotation system beekeeping. And what is that? That is, if you're super above, they build out fresh new frames. In winter they tend to move up in that brood chamber where there are freshly built frames, and right before winter, or I tend to do it in February when the winter cluster is really up, you can pull out the bottom box, the bottom brood chamber. You can melt that and put that back on in the coming season. That way you refresh your combs 30, maybe 50%, because there is always a couple of good frames left in the bottom box. But that way you can get the dark frames out and you have a more hygienic hive, and it really helps the bees, and especially because they really like to build in spring. It'll cost you some honey, but it makes for healthy, happy hives. Well, with that, thanks for watching, and I hope the discussion ends now. And I'll see you on the next Beekeepers Live video. Houdoe! You can't see it, but there's a bee sitting on the camera watching at me. So I'm feeling me watched suddenly. Oh, it's making me nervous.